Welcome to Born to Win. I'm Brian Proctor, and each Monday I share a short message to help you start your week with focus, clarity, and intention. Every episode is designed to remind you that success isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. You were born to win, and when you live in harmony with the laws of life, you begin to experience that truth in every area. Today, we're going to address something that underlies every thought you allow to sit in your subconscious mind, and that is belief. I'm not talking about what you say you believe or what you hope is true. What I want to talk with you about today is deep-seated beliefs that are driving your behaviors. Because your beliefs are the lens through which you see yourself, your future, and what you think is possible for you. And here's the thing. Many of your beliefs were never yours to begin with. So today, I want to give you one of the most powerful questions that you can ever learn to ask. Who told me that? So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's get started. Every result in your life is the expression of a belief. Your income reflects what you believe is possible. Your relationships reflect what you believe you deserve. Your health reflects what you believe you can sustain. Your confidence, it reflects what you believe about yourself. You see, your beliefs will shape what you attempt in your life and what you avoid. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I really want you to understand. Most of what you believe about what is possible for you comes from ideas that you accepted long before you ever had the capacity to evaluate and reject them. You did not sit down as a child and choose what you would believe about yourself. You absorbed it. You absorbed it from parents, from teachers, really from culture or religion, the media, and the environment. You get the picture. Your beliefs have also been shaped by early experiences and emotional moments that you witnessed, listened to, and felt. Your subconscious mind absorbed and accepted because it does not reject. You were living by your five senses and had not yet developed your higher mental faculties in your conscious or your thinking mind. Your subconscious mind is often described as the heart, and the heart accepts as truth ideas that are emotionally charged and repeated. So those moments, maybe a comment, a comparison, an experience, all can become a lifetime conclusion if it's never questioned. And suddenly, a belief is born. Beliefs can be changed, and when you truly understand that and begin questioning the ones that have been holding you back, you will be opening the door to an entirely new range of possibilities. You will no longer be living with inherited limits. Instead, you will be choosing what gets to shape your future. Now, let me share something that I've noticed after working with thousands of people from all over the world. When I ask someone, "What do you believe about yourself?" the answers almost always come back as a list of limitations. I've never had anyone respond by rattling off their strengths, their potential, or what they believe is possible for them. It's always the same patterns. I'm not good enough, or I'm behind. I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up. Now, part of that may be the nature of coaching. People come because they're stuck. But I've always found it revealing. So let me turn that question to you. What do you believe about yourself? If you were honest, would your list sound like encouragement, or more like a collection of invisible barriers that you've been carrying for years? So here's the truth. Every limiting belief you carry has a polar opposite. For every I can't, there exists an I can. For every that's just who I am, there is a version of you that has not yet been explored. But the opposite is never discovered until you begin to question what you've been accepting as true. If you move through life treating old ideas as facts rather than assumptions, nothing changes. They quietly become the boundaries of your world. And over time, those same beliefs, well, they become the very things that you complain about. Not because life is unfair, but because you never stop to ask, who told me this was true? It's a common cycle, because most people never realize they are living inside someone else's interpretation of life. They mistake inherited conclusions for personal truth. Ideas they absorbed or early experiences quietly become who they are. So they say things like, "That's just the way I am," without ever asking who told me that. What began as someone else's opinion slowly hardens into a self-definition. And that is how a borrowed belief becomes a lifelong limitation. So back to the question, who told you that? Who told you you weren't enough? Who told you it was unrealistic? Who told you success wasn't for you? Who told you to lower your expectations? Who told you to be happy with what you've got? Often, no one said it directly, but life, sometimes it implies it, and you accepted it. Understanding this is awareness, because the moment you realize that a belief was installed, you can begin the work to replace it. My father learned something from one of his early mentors, Leland Val Vanderwall. It's something that changed his life. Over breakfast one day, Leland casually said to my father, "Our belief system is based on our evaluation of something. And frequently, when we reevaluate that idea, our belief about it changes." Dad said it felt like rockets going off inside him. He understood immediately how he had changed, how he had gone from what he called a loser going nowhere in life to having a successful business that operated all over the world. Through constant study and application, he kept questioning who he thought he was and what he believed he could do. Each time he reevaluated himself, he let go of another old limitation, another inherited idea, another story that no longer fit. He was always raising the bar on what he believed was possible, and because he made reevaluation a way of life, he never stopped growing and expanding. And he was always rising to new heights of awareness and understanding. When you truly understand that your beliefs are not destiny, everything changes. You realize that you can reevaluate what you've been carrying and draw a completely new roadmap for yourself, one that leads to greater freedom, confidence, and prosperity in every area. Once you identify a limiting belief, you can usually trace it right to the habits and paradigms built around it. That is when real change becomes possible, because now you know where to put your focus. You do not get rid of an old paradigm by battling it. You let it die from lack of nourishment. You stop feeding it with attention, repetition, and emotion, and instead you consciously install something new. You choose an empowering idea, and you build habits that support it. In other words, you don't tear down the old house. You just stop living in it. You move into a new one. You place your energy and focus on a higher way of thinking, a stronger self-image, and a new pattern of behavior. And over time, the old pattern fades, simply because it is no longer being used. That is how transformation really happens, gradually. Begin by choosing one limiting belief that you have been living with and place it on the table in front of you. Then gently challenge it with a new line of thinking. What if this is not the whole truth? What if this is only one interpretation? What if I've been seeing this through a borrowed lens? What if I can? This is awareness in action. You are stepping back from the belief instead of living inside it. You are no longer letting it define you. You are observing it with curiosity rather than obedience. When you do this, something important happens. The belief loses its authority. It becomes an idea you are examining, not a rule you must follow. And once you recognize that you've been living with this belief far longer than it deserves, well, you're ready for the next step. That is the process of reframing. Reframing is a skill you can apply to old, tired stories. It is not pretending, and it is not denial. It is a conscious shift in perspective. It is the willingness to consider that there may be more than one way to interpret an event, an experience, or even a belief that you have carried for years. When you use reframing intentionally, you choose an interpretation that supports growth rather than limitation. You do not change the event, you change the meaning you assign to it. And it begins with the art of asking a better question. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of saying, "I'm bad at this," ask, "What am I learning?" Instead of concluding, "I failed," ask, "What did I discover?" The circumstance does not change, the facts don't change, but the meaning does. And when you change the meaning, you change your relationship to the experience. What once felt like proof of inadequacy becomes evidence of growth. What once felt like an ending really becomes a beginning. That is the power of reframing. And as the great Wayne Dyer beautifully said, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. Because here's the thing, your mind is always telling a story about who you are and what you're capable of, about what something means. And your mind is constantly searching for evidence to prove that story right. Whatever you believe, your awareness will organize itself to confirm it. So, if you want to redirect that inner steering wheel toward new and empowering beliefs, you must use your will. You must become vigilant. That means observing your thoughts, questioning them, and choosing which ones you will attach emotion to with intensity. It means deciding which story deserves your energy. This is where affirmations become powerful. If the thought arises, I'm not smart enough to do this, your counter command might be, I learn quickly, I think clearly, and always find a way forward. You are not denying reality, you are choosing the reality you are building. Because whatever story you repeatedly tell yourself will become your experience. Your inner narrative shapes your outer world, and when you change that narrative, you change your life. So begin paying close attention to the stories you repeat to yourself and to others about who you are. Ask yourself honestly, is this story keeping me locked inside a prison I've built? You are far better served by becoming the narrator of your life rather than a passive character in it. Make yourself the hero. Make yourself the one who grows, learns, adapts, and wins. That requires awareness. It requires that you become the gatekeeper of your own narrative. You decide what gets reinforced and what gets released. Because if you continue to believe that success is not meant for you, you will unconsciously sabotage it. Not because you are broken, but because you are loyal to a story. Reframing is how you rewrite that story. So return to this powerful question again and again. Who told me that this has to mean what I think it means? That single question, it becomes a crack in the wall. It creates space and introduces doubt into the limitation that you've been living with. And in that space, you begin to see what is possible and upgrade the belief by stepping out of unconscious obedience to it. This is not positive thinking. This is leadership of self. It is a decision to say, I am no longer willing to let outdated ideas run my future. Now, understand this. Your mind will resist this shift. The mind loves what is known. Even when what is known is limiting. Certainty, it feels safe. And belief, even a limiting belief, creates certainty. So when you challenge a belief, you disturb equilibrium. You will feel discomfort. Not because you are wrong, but because you are changing. It may feel like instability, but it is actually liberation. Reframing does not deny difficulty. Again, it is not pretending, but it reassigns meaning. The discomfort of fear that you feel will become a signal of growth if you let it. And when you practice these skills, the story changes, and that will be followed by new, empowering behaviors. You know, my father used to say, you are not upset because of what happened. You are upset because of what you are telling yourself about what happened. This insight reminds you that while you may not always control events, you always have influence over the meaning you assign to them. The same event that defeats one person can develop another, simply because of the meaning each one assigns to it. You do not have to make life harder than it already is. You can choose to be lighter. You can choose a meaning that supports you. Begin choosing lightness and watch what happens. Ask yourself this question. Is this belief helping me become who I want to be? If the answer is no, then it does not have to be your truth. Keep repeating your new, empowering habit and let it take the place of the outdated one. That repetition will provide evidence in your everyday life. Journaling can be especially helpful here. Write down what you are doing differently and what result you notice. Capture the context. Track the change. Let your own experience become proof. Rehearse your new story from the identity that you have defined. Begin looping thoughts like, I am learning, I am becoming, I am capable of growth. These ideas re-educate your subconscious mind. They inform that new identity. And before long, you will find yourself effortlessly aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with who you are becoming. Your new story will begin to pull you forward instead of holding you back. Thank you for joining me today on Born to Win. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use a reminder of their own inner authority. It also helps me to reach more people if you share, comment, rate, and follow this podcast. Remember, success isn't about luck or timing. It's about alignment. You were designed for success, built for expansion, and born to win. I'll see you next Monday. Until then, think big, trust yourself, and keep growing.